Ohio State.
Well, that's where I would think.
Because
well, that's
he's
where he
an
came from.
Ohio kid.
And then they got greenies and
Yeah, that's what
celebrations.
he-
I could see him going there. It's about culture. What's that?
Upstairs.
No, I don't know anybody, well,
We get yelled at for that too.
boy, it
Sure
takes
you
some
do.
big egos to go
You
there.
do?
because
Where's that?
Nebraska, they got big egos.
Been a while since I've been on.
When do you come up from Jesse?
Yeah,
So you leave tomorrow? There's
Bowl
nine of
I
game.
you.
didn't know what the
year
year.
after year.
I forget
Yeah,
what
the
they're-
fielder guy, but
That's
Yeah, we
just
leave
like-
tomorrow
like
morning.
Parents, do I like what you're doing?
She's
No,
gonna fill in for me.
because you take you to a bowl game all years.
I don't
I
think
give you the
Yeah, you know,
opportunity to
but-
follow your team, have some fun.
Well,
Big shoes to fill.
crap.
Parents said, gee, I'd love to have nine.
Join me in the
Yeah,
pledge of
there.
allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
I will call this meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda. Is there any deletions, corrections, or additions? I have none.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Tuesday, September 6, 2022 minutes.
I thought they read well. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Excuse me. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First item on the agenda is secondary roads, the N3 bridge project completion. Good morning, Zach.
Morning. So just to remind everybody, this is the bridge down northeast of Templeton, between 80th Street, I believe. Project was completed, or construction was completed early this summer. The DOT has gone through and we've provided all the closeout documentation that we needed to, and they are happy with how things are basically signed off on it and ready to close this one out. It's not gonna be a one that they're gonna audit. They pick which ones they're gonna audit. This is not one of them. So basically, we're at the point where we're wanting to approve the project and accept the project, and then we'll be able to pay the retainage next claims period. This was Cunningham Reese that did the project. Did a pretty good job. They stayed within their timeline pretty well. Got a good product when we were all said and done, and got a pretty good bid out of it from the get-go. So
That's the first time we've had in.
no, we've had those before. They've done multiple projects. They're the ones that did the Brigham Bridge, I believe. There's a couple other projects they've done. They're actually, I think, actually got bought out by Manats here in the last couple of years. So they're still Cunningham Reese, but Manats technically owns them. So
Yeah,
there's a little bit more influx of money there possibly now for some of the equipment. It's not the newest and whatnot. So maybe
yeah, in the past, their equipment hasn't been the greatest,
but they've always done a pretty good job really once
Yeah.
all said and done. So
On time.
for the most part, yeah, I think. I can't speak for past projects, I guess,
Yeah,
specifically, but
I don't
Overall.
remember any issues with it.
done pretty good. So
I'll make a motion to approve what do you want?
The project completion.
Project
and
completion on N3 bridge project.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Really don't have much else. The only other thing I was gonna mention, we did get the plan submitted for our G9 bridge. That'd be in the December Iowa DOT letting. At least that's the plan. Other than that, just taking away at things, trying to get things ready before fall and winter get here. So. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Thanks.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to discuss courthouse mechanical / plumbing coordination. And John and And maybe Joe.
Looks like they're in the meeting right now.
Okay, I'm not sure who.
Well, they're in a sub meeting, doing something else.
No, they're.
No, they're in this meeting.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
This is Joe. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we just wanted to go over a couple of those items that I had sent to Zach last week on the courthouse project. I think the bigger item being the RO systems, the point of use RO systems at the individual sinks. And kind of just want to run through, I guess, our concerns with doing that. I guess the way we understand it is that the whole building is currently not softened. I think it's just the hard water side that is softened. So running hard water through those RO systems, those point of use RO systems, is actually really very bad for them. It'll ruin the membrane pretty quickly on them. So you'll end up having to change out those membranes fairly often. So I guess we were kind of either want to, I guess, look at a couple different options. I think our recommendation would probably be to not install those point of use systems since we have hard water throughout the whole building. It would probably just to be a better solution just to have inline filters, I guess, in each individual one of those sinks that we're adding for this project. The electric water cooler, the drinking fountain that's sitting outside that restroom on the first floor, those come with inline filters already. That we actually have them specified to come with extra filters as well. Just kind of get everyone's thoughts on that.
What's the maintenance on those filters? I mean, is it quarterly, monthly?
The inline filters?
Yes.
Yeah, it's similar to like what you have at like installed in your home, like through like a fridge filter and stuff like that. So you'll just need it. I think it probably changes depending on which manufacturer or filter that you get. But I mean, yeah, it's just something we can coordinate and get to you so you kind of know how often they need to be changed out. And it's also, I guess, dependent on the hardness of your water too, of how quickly those need to be changed.
And how many would we be looking at? Joe,
I'm sorry, what was the question?
how many of them inline filters would we be looking at then? Water fountain, then the bathrooms?
Yeah, so it would just be, I think we just talked about, it'd be the sinks that we're adding in the break room. So I want to say, well, I think there's 2 sinks in the project. And John, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's 2 on the main floor that we're adding. And then the drinking fountain right outside those restrooms there on the first floor. So I want to say 3 total, but there might be another drink or sink, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, Joe, I think there's one more in the sort of in the meeting area as well. There's a sink there. So you could have one provided there if you'd like to. Otherwise, Joe, you hit it right on the head, of drinking fountain. And then 2 new sinks, one at the auditor's area and one at the treasurer's office.
2 there, 2 in the bathrooms and 1 downstairs.
I don't know if they're gonna be in the bathrooms.
We're redoing the bathrooms.
Yeah, but are you gonna put those in the bathrooms?
Would be nice.
It'd be.
Well,
that's
some hard water and cuts down on labor of cleaning too. I mean, and
Yeah.
and the supplies. I mean,
So will these have a water fill at each sink? Then? So that
I'm
you
sorry,
can-
can you repeat the question?
Can you-
I apologize.
well,
I'm traveling too, so I'm trying to hear over some of the road noise here.
Will that have a water fill? I mean, that's the way ours is at home. We've got one underneath the sink in line. And it's got a little. You can fill your,
Yeah,
if you want to make coffee out of that good, better water, you can take that water out of there as opposed to the faucets.
are you
Is that how that's gonna work?
are you talking the drinking fountain outside the restroom there?
I'm talking like, say, the treasurer's and the auditor's office in the meeting area, those 3.
Those 3 sinks.
Yeah. Would they have a a water fill, and actually probably the water fountain too, because
I'd
you were
say
talking
any sink
about
with
that.
Bathroom sinks.
Yeah,
Still do the filter, but not a water fill.
water fill, yeah. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna-
The drinking fountain will have a bottle filler section as well. So you'll be able to fill like coffee pots or anything or water bottles at the drinking fountain outside the restrooms there. Are you talking like a separate like faucet at the sinks to fill up
At the
water, or are you just talking
treasurers and the treasurers and auditors offices?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, in the meeting room.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at having a separate little like faucet on the side of those sinks to just have for filling up water bottles and stuff, and then just have the filter go to that, or you could just have the filter in line of the whole unit, I guess, where the whole water refilter. But I guess we can take a look at both options and kind of present them to you if that works.
But keep in mind that you're going to have, this is Tom, by the way, you're going to have those bottle fillers in your drinking fountains, right, Joe?
Correct, but there's only one drinking fountain in the project, and that's right outside the restroom. That's the only thing we plan on replacing.
No, we don't. We, not an RO. We used to have it.
We run it through, well, we have reverse osmosis through a whole house.
Okay. Well, we just have one at one sink and Echo Water doesn't. They come in and they change the filters and everything. Is that something that we would probably do?
I doubt it, because, I mean, I don't think it's hard to change the filters on
Right.
it. I mean,
That's kind of what I was trying to get a number on how many. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's 3 or 4, that's
I
something I
think-
can just.
And,
schedule to make sure
and
we do.
you'll figure out the rotation
Right.
as we go, because some of them are gonna be used a lot heavier than
Yep.
others, and
Yep.
that will come with your knowledge of what's going on, so.
But to answer their question, I would say we are fine with doing the inline. filters
Yes, I
in.
think the inline is the direction I think I would recommend.
I would agree.
Mhm.
But Dean, you're saying we should do it at the sinks and the auditor
Well,
and,
that's what they're saying here, aren't they?
no, I think they're not on those two. Are you are not planning on doing it in the auditor and treasurer's office, or were you?
Well, I think there's a couple questions. I think the intent would be, I think as Joe mentioned, to do the auditor and the treasurer's, the new sinks that are being provided at the coffee bars. So you'd be able to fill up coffee or water, throughout the day to drink via those filters. Now, the question is that just one cold water line with a spigot that's separate, or is that hot and cold that comes out of there? I guess in my mind, it might make more sense to do just the one spigot on cold, so you're not filtering everything going through that sink. So that's one thought. So that's the treasurer and auditor's room. I think the question is, do we want that similar setup in the meeting room, in the public meeting room?
I would say yes. Yeah,
'Cause that's
So-
on-
So there's 3 sinks there, and then you have the water fountain for the public. So that'll be filtered water at the one new one. And I think there was a question maybe about the bathroom, but I don't know that I would. I know there's issues with the scale and whatnot, but I'm not sure, Joe, if you would do those sinks in the restrooms.
I don't think I would. I think for those sinks in the restrooms, that's more for just hand washing only. I think it's more of a concern for areas that you're going to be drinking the water. So I think what you had mentioned with those 3 sinks and then the bottle filler, I think is a good spot to have them.
We're softening the water now.
Yes. Cold
So,
water.
yeah, so is there much scale?
Yes.
Even after softening?
Yeah, we've had that bad in one
The
too.
water's horrible.
Very hard.
I think that sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
That sounds
Right,
good.
so-
I think, eventually, there's kind of the issue still out there that could be discussed about the entirety of the, supply lines throughout the building. That's a larger picture question. And if that would need to be on a water softener system. I don't think we've touched on that this morning, but I think, you know, Joe and I kind of talked about it. The plumbing that's in the building is, you know, is dated obviously for the supply. We didn't propose to replace that during this particular project. With that said, Joe, I don't know if you have any other comments on the supply lines and whatnot. I think that as the project continues on, I don't know if we necessarily want to look at the supply lines throughout the course of this project when ceilings are down. That would be an option for the county, you know, as maybe part of the contingency, but there still might be some further discussion, I think, in terms of the overall, you know, supply lines in the building, lime scale, you know, water softeners, things of that nature.
Okay, and just to kind of go off the email, another one you previously mentioned you'd like a workstation for DDC controls. Where would be the best place to locate this? In my current office or in the boiler room? Me and Rich did talk about this a little bit. Our only concern with putting it down in the boiler room would be if we did some future renovations to that boiler room. As in you guys have talked about maybe putting a floor in there. We just don't want to, I guess, kind of step on our own toes here, put it down there, then I'm having to move it again. So I guess depending on how much space you guys were thinking that would take, we probably were thinking maybe in my office would be a better location for that.
Yep, and that's actually where we have it shown on plans right now is in your office. So it's just an extra computer workstation to be able to sign in and get into the control system. So
Okay, perfect. Another one on here was talking about moving the condenser units for the dispatch room outside. Another thing, me and Rich talked about this one as well. The only issue we thought maybe might happen is we have a picnic table set up there now, or jailers, or if anyone in the courthouse wanted to go out there to take a break. Noise would maybe be the only issue. Is that something that you guys think would be real noisy, would be a pain to deal with, or?
it might be. I mean, it's similar. It'll be similar to what you have like for an AC unit at your house. Kind of sit on grade there. If there's a better location that you guys would want it to be, I'm open to hear them. I mean, if we want to put it out front, similar to where the that condensing unit for the chiller used to be, we could look at that option too. Or we could just straight up put it on the south side of the building. I think there's another condensing unit out there towards the southeast side that's serving a unit that's in the IT room right now, but that's going to get removed. So we could do something similar to that, just have it on the southwest corner, but not back in that little court area. So it's away from the picnic table. But
to stop you there,
you guys prefer.
You said that you're going to pull the AC unit out of the IT room.
The condensing unit, so the outside unit.
So like we were planning on using that to still cool that back room there because we were going to put equipment in there, if you recall.
Not sorry, different IT. The IT like office area where you guys have your desks and computers set up. I'm not talking the where that boiler stack goes up, where all your like actual equipment is, that closet. That's still going to have its own system in there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Just clarifying.
Yep.
I think on the southwest corner of that building, and primarily on the south side, get it around the corner a little bit. And then we can watch the noise factor. We can always come back in later and put up a PVC type fence, 3 or 4 foot that looks nice to deflect the noise if that's an issue. But yeah, I think I'd look at the southwest side and primarily on the south side is where I'd place them.
Okay, perfect.
And then another email, which I don't know if you guys got, but it said, do you have any issues with water pressure at the courthouse currently? Do you happen to have any recent flow test data you would be able to share with us? I don't have any flow test data right now, but we do not have any water pressure issues here. I don't even adding these few things, remodeling, I don't foresee that being an issue. We've always had pretty good pressure in the courthouse, so.
Okay, perfect. And I guess the reason I asked that is just because we are adding a backflow preventer down there in where that water service is next to where the meter's going. So there is a little bit of pressure drop that's associated with that. So I didn't know if you had any recent data on that, but if you're telling me it's probably pretty solid, I think adding it won't be too big of an issue, but just wanted to ask the question.
And then the only other one was 70 degrees heating, 75 cooling.
Okay, yeah, I think we previously discussed this, but I am running 70 degrees heating and 75 cooling for room set points. Is that generally where you guys would run something like this? Or I don't remember talking about this, but.
Yeah, that's usually our standard. I mean, it can vary. Some people like to have 72, but that can also be adjusted down the line or through the DDC system. That's just, I guess, what we have on our plans for now. So
I think how we run now is that like you have your set point and then you can usually go 4 or 5 degrees up or down with it. Is that kind of the same deal here?
Yep. We have a schedule in there that'll lock it out at plus or minus 3 degrees typically.
Okay.
But
Zach,
Zach,
has a little bit of go ahead.
I was going to say, Zach, that's just a starting point. I mean, you can always adjust the set points wherever you want through the DDC system. So it's not like you're stuck with that.
Okay. Yep. I would say you guys are fine then with the 70 and 75. So.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was me. I'm like. Okay, so any other bullet points?
I don't think so.
So when are we going out to bid with this?
So we're planning to put the project out to plan rooms today. So we posted it in the newspapers, I should say. And I'd say today's the day, really. We're going to compile all the final prints, get those sent over to plan rooms with the specifications and whatnot. And we'd officially be within the bidding phase of the project. So today it really is that day.
John, at what point do we approve the plans and specs?
We could send you if you'd like, I should back up. We could send you those today as well, so you could flip through them. I'd say that we looked at them a couple weeks ago. We've updated them accordingly. So if you'd like a little time, we could send those to you today. And then if there's anything,
am I right? And there's a formal action that we have to take as far as before we do that, we have to approve plans and specs? Or am I wrong?
I mean, typically, I know if I was doing this for a school, you guys would have to approve the plans and specs. I was under the impression they were already approved after that page turn, but I guess I misunderstood.
Well, I guess I would suggest then you send them out to us this week and maybe we can get it on the agenda next week. And
There's
then,
also an email that you need to look at for next week.
and then we can
John,
just keep.
can you post the plans without board approval though?
That's a good question. I think we'd agreed that the 8th was the date we posted that in the paper. So that would be my only concern, is that we had it posted and people were anticipating receiving drawings. It's a good question. I hadn't in the past ever had to have plans officially approved prior to sending them out to bid. So if that's the case here, what I could offer is that we give the county the plans for review while they're being bid. They're not going to permitting yet or anything to that effect. They're going out for public bid. The bid doesn't finalize until the 6th, I believe. So there's the idea was that there would be nearly 4 weeks in there. So if there's a way we could do that concurrently with the project being out to bid, that's one option. If we wanted to delay, we could do that. We could send them, to the board for approval, next week, I believe on a Monday. And we just have to update that advertisement. I think it was in the paper, and I think we'd send it to Master Builders of Iowa and Iowa League of Cities. So kind of a little twist there, but we can accommodate whatever's needed, I would say.
Well, I think that would, I don't know why I thought of that just first now, but why don't we do that? Is that okay with you?
I think we
Chairman?
need to
Chairperson?
because
It needs to be formalized.
we
Yeah.
also have got some questions on the general and supplemental conditions for the project. So I think that needs to be next week anyway.
Okay. But I'm hearing we don't send them out to plan houses and we wait until Monday for
Approval.
approval.
John, one other question is, have you run this by the city of Carroll for all these improvements?
I have on a
Okay.
couple of occasions, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that they've seen it and
Sure.
don't have any heartburn over anything, so.
Well, I discussed it, I guess to further that question, I haven't heard an official response back. I discussed it with, I think it was the individual that was retiring. Recently. And he deferred that I sent those over to the next individual in line with the building group. I did that and hadn't received a response from that either. So,
I'm sure.
so I have discussed it with the state fire marshal. They deferred to the city of Carroll. So on my end, I've been, doing what I can to get that out in front of folks. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, very good.
All right, John, if you can just get us those plans and then we'll put it on the agenda for next week.
You bet. I will do that.
Well, John, that document you had me publish, we'll just need to redo that with some different dates on it.
Different dates, correct. Yeah. So if we want to pick a different date, we have the date that the drawings go out, and then we have a walkthrough date. We'll have a public hearing date as well, and then we'll have a final bid date. So those will need to be revised. I think if we do anything today, we put out a document that just says that the bid issuance date will be delayed and, pending further notice, something to that effect. And that'll give contractors kind of a heads up there that we're not putting the drawings out today, but they're going to come out, in the near future, excuse me. And I don't know if we want to start to look at potential dates then as options. So we would get potentially we'd get approval next week on the 19th, or I suppose there's a chance that we don't get approval, but I would say that if approval is on the 19th, I can adjust the dates from there, and then we could just send out an updated notice if that works for everybody with those dates on it.
I think that sounds good. I don't see any, problems, but I think we need to have that formal action done, though.
I think there's
Sure.
been approval of what they're doing, but not a formal.
Not a
would
formal
agree.
approval of the plans and specs.
Yeah, since that's gonna have to be on an agenda,
Mhm.
and so,
And I mean, we have it on the, well, we kind of have it on the agenda today, but you don't have plans, so. we'll have it next week.
Yeah,
Unless you want to meet, I mean, if it's that time sensitive, we could have another meeting this week, but,
See.
never mind. I mean,
well,
I'd
we
like
can
to have
do it without
everybody
me.
here. But I'd rather have everybody do it. We'll just, I think, next week. Monday.
I will agree.
Okay,
19th.
Okay, yeah, I'll update the advertisement and get that over to you.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
anything else, John?
I don't have anything else necessarily, but yeah, I think that'll give us a little time to get the drawings reviewed by everybody. and approved. I think that's a good step, good move. So happy with that. And if there's any final clarifications we can make, we'll get you drawings, specifications for review today. And then if there's anything that you see in there that you'd like to have us clarify or whatnot, I'd like to obviously do that before we get you finals for that review on Monday of next week.
Okay. Good
Sounds
enough.
good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
You bet.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to approve flags. And I think we've got 3 of them. Yep.
We didn't get an aerial on that last one, did we?
Is that on the Daniel one?
Yeah. I don't think I'd seen that until I'd seen this here.
One's just a correction.
Yeah. I think that's. I will make a motion to approve the flats.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is to approve Henry M. Atkins and Sons Incorporated purchase and maintenance agreements.
Okay, I sent you guys all a copy of this. This purchase was approved last year to buy new equipment. This is just a formal agreement with them, pretty standard procedure. We do also have maintenance done on our machines. They come in and do that for us. So this is basically just a agreement for the maintenance and agreement to buy the machines.
Does this replace all the machines?
Yes.
Is that the scanners too then, or?
Would be the scanners that the ballots actually feed into, and it's also the handicap or the ADA
Yeah, I guess I.
machines too. Yes.
It's everything then.
I was working on a scanner. Yeah, we have not gotten a new ADA machine yet. We're still waiting.
Just curious, prior, what was our maintenance fee?
It was a little bit less. Yeah. It didn't go up significantly. And I knew about this, so I budgeted for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit more, but it does go up a little bit every year anyway.
Yeah.
So
Those things, when they got you, they got you.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, we can't have anyone else work on those machines because they're their machines. Nor do we want to. There's been a lot of stuff in the news about voting equipment, making sure it's secure and things like that. And ours is and will continue to be. I think we keep using this company because they've done very well for us.
Good system.
It is.
So how long we had you?
Just a little over 11 years. And the useful life on it's about 10 years. So I know you guys, we had a little bit of an issue with it with the last election where it was, it fed an extra ballot in there, not an extra ballot, but it fed the same ballot twice. That's just use. I mean, they're wore out. They're accurate, but we need to make sure that we have equipment that there's not gonna be any question on, well, they're using machines that are 15 years old.
So
We got the up-to-date stuff.
all available for the general
It's
election.
supposed to be, yes. It's supposed to be. We have 2 new scanners here now. We're using one tomorrow, over in Arcadia. They're the same software. It runs the same. The prompts are the same. So it's not really, it just looks different. It basically runs the same.
Okay,
There won't be
special
a-
election over there.
Yeah, our Leva School District has a.
We'll have a
bond issue.
kind of a mini test tomorrow, and
Yeah,
that will
yeah.
sort out the good and the bad.
Yeah, and like I said, the software's the same on it. So there's really no learning curve. It just looks different, buttons are in the different places and that kind of thing, but there's a lot of counties that are getting new equipment.
You ordered this 10 months ago?
We approved the order of them back in fiscal 22. But with, and it was not Atkins' fault that we didn't get them. It's just a product, or what do you call that?
Supply chain.
Supply chain. Yeah, so,
That, and there's a lot of,
and you know what? If we don't have it in time for November, I'm very confident that the machines we have will work. But it'd really be nice to have some up-to-date stuff and start fresh.
well, get everybody trained on the new and
Yep.
put the old away.
Yeah, and they'll come and they'll take the old equipment and they properly dispose of it securely, so. Yeah.
Well, if you're happy with it, I think, I'll make the motion that we approve the purchase and maintenance agreements.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And you said this has all been through the budget already?
Yeah.
And this is.
Well, the thing is you guys approved it in 22 and it was in the 22 budget to buy this. Well, we're gonna be buying it in 23, so we are gonna have to amend our budget because that money did not get spent. So,
But the money's there, so we're just gonna.
yeah, the money is there because it wasn't spent in
Okay.
22. So it's just sitting. in
Late
reserves.
delivery.
Yeah,
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
opposed, motion carries. There's a couple places to sign up this past time around. I'm sure. I would like everybody, each board member to sign their place for signature and then print your name and your title on there, and then this one. This one, I think the chair can just sign the maintenance agreement. But this one, I'll let you guys all sign.
So there was just one spot on this one, right, Courtney?
Yeah, on the maintenance, there's just one spot.
Right. You guys want me to continue on the sign or just wait?
What if you're driving?
Continue.
Continue. Next item on the agenda is the homestead and military applications. I think everybody received the
So-
list.
These allowances and disallowances come from the assessor's office. It's standard practice to have the board approve those every year.
And disallowance typically is deceased, sold, or did apply soon enough.
Well, they don't have to reapply for most of these. So yeah, I mean, moved, passed away. Pretty
The
standard.
deed changed on that property.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
or if there's buildings removed or whatever. That list kind of gets long. There's a lot of exchange of properties.
There is.
There's a lot of activity on there.
Yeah.
And I realize that you guys, I mean, unless you question one of them because you happen to know somebody, it's probably the only time you're like, wait a minute, what happened there? But.
Yeah.
So you want the homestead and military all done at one time then?
Yeah, I'd like the homestead and military in one motion, and then you can do the disabled veterans homestead tax credit and then a separate motion. Those are a little bit different than the homestead and military.
I'll make a motion to approve the homestead and military application and disallowances.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right. Next item is disabled veterans homestead tax credit applications.
Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll make a motion that this disabled veterans homestead tax credit applications that we have in front of us is approved.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is ambulance department employee retirement. We received notice from Wendy Baker that her last day will be 10/31/22. On behalf of our supervisors, I think we can all agree she's done a great service in Carroll County, and we wish her the best in retirement.
I'll make a motion to accept the letter of resignation.
I'll second that
There's been a
What else do you always put on there?
with regrets.
With regrets.
She's done a good job for us over the years. Very good.
Step up the plate when we need someone to.
She's been
Yeah.
interim manager for 6 months.
Did a great job at it.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now we will go into manure managements. Matthew Halber, section 25, Iowa Township, Crawford County, no changes. Grody Brothers Finisher, section 28, Wheatland Township, no changes. Ben Clucky, section 32, Newton Township, no changes.
Yeah, we put it in the first month.
And Smith Brothers Farm, section 3, Sheraton Township, no changes. I can jump into committee reports.
I can go.
Okay.
Last week I had no official business. This week, on Thursday, Stephanie and I are going to attend the Rotary meeting in Coon Rapids and then go on a tour of the town and improvements that are happening there. That's all I have.
I can go next.
And back up Friday, I do have second district judicial meeting also at 9 a.m.
Last week I did the radio and newspaper, and then we had a CADC board for Carroll County Growth Partners board meeting at noon, and their speaker canceled the last minute, so we basically did a roundtable discussion on which went very well. And then at 2 o'clock, I had an Access Washington meeting in regard to our trip for this next week. So this week there will be Access Washington. I leave Tuesday and come back Friday. And then I'm supposed to have a juvenile attention board meeting, and Stephanie's she's an alternate. She's gonna fill in for me. So yeah, I'm gonna take care of it that way. That's all I have this week.
Okay, there you go. Last week, I did not have any official business. I did have some conversations with some residents on Spark property. And then also with Zach. This week, I have, like Scott mentioned, the Coon Ordery, and then Friday, the Yes Center. Not sure yet, if I'm gonna be zooming or driving there. And then I also have the newspaper and read.
All right, last week. CADC with Gene and I did attend. I thought that was an impromptu meeting, but I thought it functioned out very well. On Thursday, I had Region 12. We had the housing was probably the most talked about piece of the day. We had some interest rate discussions about what the future holds on one of our loan programs. We had a long discussion whether it would help maybe move some things along if we did a little interest cut. Jury's still out on what we're gonna do there. I mean, some of these interest cuts, we're talking about $12 a month in payments, so it will make that bigger ripple, but I feel comfortable if we want to try to do something. I think we should try to do what we can, and most of it's over housing, so. And we all know that housing is probably the #1 subject of most counties in the state. Manning the Manila Coon Rapids Workforce Housing Tax Credit. The COG awarded $111,000 to in IDA workforce housing tax credits for housing units in the Manila and Coon Rapids area. One will be a prisoner built Iowa prisoner built homes. The other ones are just apartment type complex, and those are both still on hold. There's nothing etched in stone, but we agreed to put these monies into it to help move those projects along. Looks like the miles on the mileage for the transit report. The August miles were up quite a little bit. And that's nothing really big to attribute it to, other than people are back to work. There's more and more passengers. So, and also New Hope is also becoming more active with back to different doctor's appointments and things like that. So hazardous mitigation, the city of Wall Lake was ordered $25,000, almost $26,000 for a new storm warning siren. And that's one reason why you do your hazardous mitigation, is so you have these farms filled out, and if those opportunities arise in your jurisdictions, you can get these monies to take care of these issues. That was it for Region 12. I did attend the chamber coffee on Friday. This week, after this, Dean and I will be and Courtney we have a well-being meeting. We're still digging into insurance and benefits and lots of different things, and we will have another sub meeting today. On Wednesday, I have to go to Holstein for WIWD workforce development. Going to be a very interesting meeting. Half of the people that are active in that board are either not running again or have been defeated in a primary. So there will the chair or the vice chair, the treasurer, they're all got issues. So there will be a lot of discussion, a lot of things changing around. Other than that, the workforce is heading along pretty well. We're going to have a couple, 3 openings, and as soon as we find out the demographics of what those are, the supervisors will be looking in the areas trying to find people to serve on that board. I've already had one person that said that they would have some interest in if that would arise. On Thursday, I'm going to meet with New Hope and another citizen from Carroll. And we're going to discuss some mental health projects. I'm not sure where that's going to go because this is our first initial meeting. I'm trying to get a feel for what all we're really up to. That's at 10 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock, I have a Partnership for Families meeting. And then on Friday, I'm open.
Finish it up.
All right, I'll finish it up. I had no official meetings last week. This week I have the Conservation Board meeting tonight.
Courtney, when you're done writing your notes.
So I think we already talked about it, but I have an election tomorrow, so. Kind of a busy day for me. Next week we have possibly, and I know you guys talked about this last week when I was gone about the ADA coordinator. I don't know if you guys are ready to talk about that again, but I have a question mark behind it, so. But the other thing, the courthouse plans and specification approval. Bill day, and then we'll canvass the election I have tomorrow. We have a town hall meeting on the 20th in Maple River at 6. Town hall meeting in Mount Carmel on Thursday.
That's the second week. That's not next week.
Yeah, it is.
The 20th and the 22nd,
Not this week.
Yeah, that's.
next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
mentioning what we have. Not
Oh, I
coming
thought
up
you
this
were
week, but
talking
next week.
No, so the 20th in Maple River, 22nd. No. Oh, that's fine. Hey, that's okay.
Better Dalton, is there any comments online?
Negative.
Thank you, Dalton. All right, in order for a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
Thursday.
there's been a motion and a second and a third. Any more discussion? If not,